Mr.
Honorable
Chair,
Minister.
yes, just to clarify that the program was ceased, that we can actually get some checks and balances into it, and make sure that the money was actually being spent in the right way, and but just to clarify that it was not actually stopped, and actually we will be looking forward to actually bringing it back forward again once we have everything sorted out.
Honorable Member for Red Bay.
Mr. Chairman, the minister has asserted that, well, let me change that. The minister has inferred that the money which has been utilized so far, which was granted under the previous government, under the current Minister of Education, has not been spent properly. If that is the case, I would ask that he inform the committee about whatever discrepancies, if I may call them that, have occurred with respect to that program.
Honorable Minister of Education. Sorry, Honorable Minister of Planning.
Mr. Chair, all we want to do is just to make sure that the criteria is actually set better going forward, that's all.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure any of us are the wiser as a result of that response. I would ask, Mr. Chairman, this is an important matter. It is a matter that affects farmers who are generally on the lower end of the income scale in this country, who struggle to keep farms going. Very valuable and important funding has now been ceased. And based on what the minister said, the inference is that somehow the money has been misspent. I believe this committee is owed, Mr. Speaker, some explanation before we go on and vote more money.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, I would have the Chief Officer answer that question for him.
Mr. Chair, through you. I think what the minister said, he was not inferring that the money was not used incorrectly. He wanted to reassess, as the Minister for Education also alluded to, for us to look at the program and see how best we can assist farmers in addition to the already subsidies that they are receiving. Farming is very important to the Honourable Minister responsible for agriculture, and he intends to support the farming community in any way he can, just doing so in a more systematic control manner, and it benefits the farmers for the overall food security of these islands.
So Mr. Chairman, I thank the acting chief officer for that response. But there is a clear inference that there's something was wrong or is wrong with the program that was on the way. The minister referred to different criteria. I think we would all like to understand what the criteria was and what are the issues which have caused the new administration, the minister in particular, to cease the grant program. That's all I'm asking for, is an explanation.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, again, the Chief Officer will answer him on that one.
Mr. Chair, through you, Honourable Member, the program, there's not necessarily an issue with the criteria. It is just to ensure that we have checks and balance in place. We have to make sure that the application process, certain things we've found. This program was developed to assist during COVID, and it was a critical time, so we're just assisting to ensure, as the Honourable Minister for Education indicated, that it was backyard farmers as well, and maybe to reassess the program to assist those commercial farmers and farmers that are already established, as well as the backyard farmers.
Thank you to the acting chief officer. Mr. Chairman, could I just ask one more question then? Is the money that's being asked for to be voted on today going to be sufficient to fund any future program during the course of this calendar year?
Honorable Minister.
I would, to tell you, Red Bay, Honorable Member for Red Bay, that the money that we actually have here will only be able to carry us to a certain extent, as the member, your leader of opposition had actually said earlier. But I have no problem if we have to come back to get more money to continue this grant.
Mr. Chairman, could the minister give an indication as to when the program might be resumed then?
Honorable Minister.
As soon as the assessment is finished, sir.
Honorable Member for Red Bay.
And Mr. Chairman, when is that likely to be?
As soon as the assessment is done, sir. The honorable member is a farmer himself. All farmers were actually notified to come out to the meetings when we were having them, and the honorable member didn't show up to that meeting to voice his opinion at that time, which he should have came.
Mr. Chairman, I want to make something clear. I am here in my role as the elected member for Red Bay. I have not and do not intend to receive any of the government grant. This is the place where ministers and the government have to give assurances to the House, to the Finance Committee, and to the country as to the utilization of public funds. I am simply carrying out my role to interrogate the issue at hand. I'm not satisfied by the responses, but they are what they are. But it is not for the minister to tell me which meetings I should attend or not attend relating to farming.
Mr. Chairman, though,
Honorable Member for West Bay West.
between two ministers have given very clear answers as to where, well, if you don't consider it clear, I do, because I understand, and I know you understand too, member from Red Bay, I know you understand that there is all intentions. The Minister of Education, who was the past minister, elaborated on it. The minister has done his best to tell us, between him and his chief officer, what has happened, where they're going. He's waiting on an assessment, unless we asking him to speak in the wind, which he don't want to do.